everyone. Welcome to Normal, but Not, the podcast where we dive into all those things in life that seem totally normal, but are actually messing with your well-being. I'm your host, Krystal Centinello, recovering people pleaser, trauma-informed boundaries and empowerment coach, and your go-to for shaking up what you've been taught is normal. Each week, we'll uncover hidden patterns that keep you stuck, and I'll give you practical tips to help you break free and start living life on your terms. So, if you've ever questioned whether the way things are is the way they should be, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. So, let's start with good girl conditioning. What is it? It's that upbringing many of us experienced where we were being praised for being polite, easygoing, compliant. We were taught to prioritize everyone else's needs and be the nice one. We got labeled as the good girl or goody two-shoes, while anything less than the perfect behavior, like showing anger or saying no, earned us labels like too sensitive or difficult or sometimes just bitchy. Sound familiar? I mean, my mom still tells people how I got all these awards at graduation. They should have put a chair up on stage because I never caused any trouble. But the second that I stopped being perfect, then I was too much. And that pattern, it followed me into adulthood. Good girl conditioning's sneaky. It's not something that magically disappears when we become adults. It shows up in how we keep putting everyone else before ourselves. And then maybe we get to ourselves last. We overextend ourselves for others. And let's be real, we keep apologizing for just existing. And that's where over-apologizing comes in. How many of you say sorry for things that aren't even your fault? I mean, I've been guilty of it. Someone bumps into me at the store and I'm like, oh, sorry. Does that sound like you too? I mean, it's not just about saying sorry. It's about this deeply ingrained belief that we need to say small and shrink down, not take up too much space, and just keep the peace at all costs. All of these things are not normal, but it feels like it is because we've been doing it for so long. And we haven't been some princess locked up in a tower for 18 years with our hair growing 70 feet long, waiting for a prince to come rescue us. It is not the extreme, and so it's been normalized. And you know what? It's also exhausting. We're now adults, still people-pleasing, still afraid to rock the boat, and still saying yes when we just want to scream no. The behavior feels like the path of least resistance, but it actually comes at the expense of our well-being. All right, let me break down some examples for you. Saying yes when you want to say no. I mean, have you ever agreed to your third cousin's kid's neighbor's birthday party when all you wanted was a quiet Sunday at home? You didn't want to go, but you felt you should go. It's out of an obligation, and everyone else was going to be mad at you if you didn't show up or, God forbid, not invite you again. Oh my goodness, what's the worst thing? You not get invited to a party you didn't want to go to in the first place? But that's your good girl conditioning at play. It's tricking you into thinking that you have to show up for everyone else. Over apologizing? How about at work? Your boss gives you that extra task last minute, and you apologize for not having those tasks done sooner, when really it's their fault for dumping work on you. Or this is even better. You're in a restaurant. They get your order wrong, but you end up apologizing for the inconvenience of asking for what you actually ordered. Or likely you haven't said anything at all because you'd rather keep the peace. Pay for a meal that you couldn't eat and then go home and shove your face with some bread and butter because there's nothing actually in your house that you can consume. All of these little moments, the saying yes when you want to say no, the over apologizing, they add up and they lead to burnout. We end up emotionally exhausted, resentful, and unsure of who we are without this people-pleasing behavior. It's no wonder many of us feel stuck. There's this brilliant therapist. His name is Terry Real, and he has a great phrase. What was adaptive then is maladaptive now. As kids, being agreeable and avoiding conflict kept us safe. It helped us get through childhood. In many cases, it helped us survive. But as adults, these same behaviors are no longer serving us. They're holding us back, keeping us small, and making us feel guilty for putting ourselves first. So what can we do about it? If you're doing something else, stop and take notes. Step 1, catch yourself in the act. Next time you say yes when you want to say no, or you find yourself apologizing unnecessarily, just pause. Recognize the habit. You don't need to change it immediately, but just start noticing when you're doing it. The first step to breaking these patterns is awareness. Step 2, start small with your no's. Just say no to one thing this week. That's all. Don't explain yourself. Now, it doesn't have to be a huge no, or it doesn't have to be no as a complete sentence. Maybe that's not where you're at right now. But maybe it's just saying no to a plan that's too much for you right now, or a family event. Whatever it is, protect your energy around it. And you don't owe anyone a huge detailed reason for the no. Just try no thank you, or no, I can't make it, or no, I don't want any. But you don't have to launch into a no, I can't have it because I'm actually gluten intolerant. It hurts my stomach, and you don't want to know what else is going to come after that. No one needs the details, and you are putting those out there because you think that it's protecting and pleasing everyone else. Just no, thanks. I don't want any. Just try that. Step 3, and this is the last step. So if you haven't been paying attention, there were 2 more steps before this. Rewind, go back, write them down, and now you're on step 3. Step 3, challenge your guilt. When the guilt creeps in, and it will, remind yourself that taking care of me doesn't make me selfish. It makes me human. I'm going to repeat that. Remind yourself, taking care of me doesn't make me selfish. It makes me human. So whatever conditioning or gaslighting that has come before that has told you that you are selfish for doing something for you, I'm telling you right now, if you are still listening to this podcast because this has resonated with you, you are anything but selfish. It is time to be human. The guilt that you are feeling is your brain's way of trying to stick to the old patterns, and it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. Take a deep breath. Remember, you are allowed to put yourself first. There's a reason they tell people on an airplane to put on their mask before assisting a young child. You cannot help others if you don't have energy or the tools to help yourself first. So don't feel guilty. That part is normal. It's normal for you to feel guilty because of all of the years of conditioning, and it's also normal to put yourself first. Now, none of this is going to feel easy, but trust me, the more you practice, the better you'll feel and the easier it will get. You don't have to be the perfect good girl or the one who never makes any waves. It's not your job to make everyone happy. It is your job to take care of yourself. And if you are out there and you are single and dating, anyone who comes to you and tells you, "Oh my gosh, you make me so happy," guess what? Walk away. It is not your job to make them happy. That is too much work. That is too much pressure. And you are trying to break patterns. So do not put yourself in a place where you are responsible for someone else's happiness. Meet somebody who can bring their own happiness to the table right now. You guys can meet in the middle. Maybe that's another episode. If anything I've said in today's episode has resonated with you, I want to invite you to head over to my website, krystalcentinello.com/quiz. That's Krystal with a K. My cat's very excited about you heading over there. krystalcentinello.com/quiz. Take my free people pleaser quiz to see just how much good girl conditioning may still be holding you back, and get personalized tips on how to break free. Remember, we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be real. And real means standing up for yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. So until next time, take care of you, and remember, it's not normal to always put others first. Let's redefine what normal should be. And in our next episode, we're going to ask, is it normal to say yes to everything? See you next time.